Okay, so I'm finally building the third and hopefully the final version of this new meta base that I've uploaded in the last few videos. So I'm gonna jump right into it because it's gonna be a longer video than I would hope. So let's just do this as quick as possible. So we're gonna start out the same way we have with the other two bases, but this base is gonna vary significantly to comparison because I was listening to a lot of comments and people gave a lot of good suggestions. So we're gonna start by building the TC. I'm gonna lower the volume so it doesn't get in the way. Okay, so we're gonna start by building the TC like this, and you can armor all of this just like that. Now do this, only sheet metal that, and then build three squares out from there like this, and then build a triangle out from each of those squares, and then fill in the middle sections with triangles. And then you can just add walls to each square like this, and then add walls to each of these two triangles because these two triangles are going to be honeycomb. You can add a wall in between for each of them like this, and then we have this sort of shape. So from here we're going to build 2 more walls on each of these far triangles just like this. So we can see our TC is right here, and to get up from this we're gonna build these turn these 3 triangles into bunkers. So basically to do that, all you have to do is just add your 2 high triangles basically on each end, and it'll turn into a bunker. And the reason for that is I'll show you quickly because I feel like I went kind of quickly last time, is when you place a half wall and then a ceiling here, if you add half walls like this, so what you'll see as a raider is you'll come down and you'll just see this half wall, and this will be armored, and you'll be like, okay. And then to break the bunker, you come on the inside, and this stone here is going to be a twig, and you just break it with a weapon, and then the ceiling will fall. Once again, to seal it, you just place this here, and then you place a triangle through, and then you upgrade it on the other side, and that turns your base into the bunker. And then all you have to do on all the other sides is just add your half walls and then ceilings like this. So now we sort of have this. Okay, this is where the base is going to get slightly different. What we're going to do is on all of the sides of the base, we're going to place a triangle, square, and triangle, or square, triangle, square, and then we're going to just add 3 triangles like this, and then you can delete these ones and upgrade these to sheet metal. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. And make sure you upgrade these foundations to sheet metal because we want them to be able to withstand being soft-sided out. And do that for the last side as well. Just like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to upgrade all of this middle section to sheet metal. We'll do the ceilings in a second. And the reason I'm doing this is because this is the core of the base. You can go to armored if you have enough resources, but I'm not going to do that. We want this to be as strong as possible. And make sure you don't forget the foundations because those are also going to be really important here. You get that upgraded, and you can do all your ceilings as well. These ceilings should be armored, the 3 squares. And then everything else you can sheet metal. Just come around and get all the ceilings. You don't want these to be splashed easily. It's basically going to get quite big, so... Okay. Now we have this section of the base, which is good. Now, from here, we're going to come over to this section, and we're going to add 3 lower stone triangles. And we're going to do that on all the different sides. And then come inside your base and find your TC room. So this is the TC room. So don't do this, make the front entrance on the TC room because we want it to be as far away from where you're coming in at the base. So just do it at one of the opposite 2, which I'll just decide for this one. And what you can do is you can honeycomb this one and then add this little jump up here. You can put furnaces here, which I'll show you quickly, I guess. It doesn't really matter what you put or jump up whatever furnaces. You could just throw 3 quickly. I'll just do 1 for now. And then you're going to add a frame as well. And you don't have to upgrade these to sheet metal unless you want to. It's up to you. And then add another frame here and a frame here. And then this is going to be the entrance. Just this section here. These 2 triangles. Everything else can be walled and turned into honeycomb. So if you're looking at this from here, make sure that this is the soft side facing this way. And then like this. And you could add your ceilings. Now, this bunker here, when you do this, keep this top wall armored always. Armor this. So for this bunker, it's going to be slightly weird on the main entrance. What you can do is if you're online just playing the game, if you don't mind just walking over this, it's not a big deal. You can turn this into a wood platform or a twig platform or whatever. Because when you log off, you're gonna break this and have the bunker. But for now, if it's a pain to jump over this, you could just make it a twig so it's easy to run through. Okay? And I recommend keeping the least expensive loot in this room because this is gonna be like the first place that people notice when they're raiding. So from here, what we're gonna do is come back to stone and we're gonna come around with all of our walls like this. Just like so, which is perfect. And then let's bring up all of these honeycombs on all the different sides. Like this. And then the same exact thing on this side, because these are not front entrances, so these can just be turned into honeycomb. And they're going to have your more valuable loot, so you're going to want to do that as well. We have that and that. Now, we have everything honeycombed and we're all good. And then on this section, you can add your walls just 2 stories up for now, because that's where we're at. Just like this. Okay, perfect. So now we're going to turn these little rooms into their own little bunkers. So we can add some frames just like this. And then when you come in, this area here is going to be your jump up. So you can throw this half wall if you want furnaces. I'm going to keep it as a half wall jump up. So that's where we come up from the base. And let's add our ceilings. Like this. And these sections are going to be upgraded to sheet metal, including this one triangle above the bunkers. Like that. And then we could come in here. And we will not armor. We will sheet metal all of this. Just like so. And you could sheet metal this as well. So now we have sort of the main area, the main room. And we're going to grab our workbenches. And I know a lot of people asked for an open core, which I'm going to do in a second. I'm going to explain how we incorporate that. So you can have your benches. And they don't have to be down on this floor. You'll see all of that when I move up to the next floor, because this space is going to be quite large. It just turned out that way. And then for the bunkers, I will explain that part in a second. But for now, you can come down and just armor the important parts. That can be sheet metaled. And come and do the same thing on this section. And check your last bunker. This one is fine. This can be sheet metal. So now we're here. And I'll come back and I'll close up the bunkers at the end so you could see what it would look like if you're getting offline. The last thing we're going to do for this floor is come all the way around, place our frames as expected. And you could pick up the workbenches when you're placing these garage doors, but grab your garage doors. And we're going to want them coming all the way around the base and from the front entrance as well. As many doors as possible in case someone tries to offline through them. Like so. Just come all the way around. Doors, including on the bunkers as well. So it'll be quite expensive if someone's raiding like this. Now, we're going to move up to the next floor. And this is where we're going to incorporate an open core, basically. Which is a lot different from how I did my last base. So, if I come up from the top section, what we're going to do is we're going to place walls like this. on all three sides on these sort of drum shaped looking things. We have this. These frames I accidentally placed through the ceiling, so we don't want these. And then these outer walls can be brought up another layer. And then you can have this like this. And cover this up for now. Just for now. And then the next jump up as well. So we don't want to forget. Here. So now, if you would like, I'm going to do this quickly. If you rather keep... Oh, okay, let me explain the concept first. So the way this works is pretty much now what we have is, if we add our half walls, is we have an open core. And we can have a ton of boxes here, and you can run around, you can craft easy access to loot, which is something that a lot of people were asking for. But when you log off and you want to keep your loot more secure, because this loot won't be that secure from offline raiders, you can go downstairs, move the best loot, your sulfur, your boom, and you can put it inside the bunkers. So now we have an open core and we have bunkers to keep your base extra secure, and you'll have easy access to loot during the day, and it'll be safe and secure during the night. Just kind of the idea. I saw a lot of people asking for that, so I wanted to see if I could incorporate it, and this was the best way I could figure it out. And like as you can see, I've been doing, we're going to sheet metal pretty much this whole floor. And you could fit 6 boxes in all of those, because we're going to have important loot here. And just in case if someone comes on online, so you're going to want this floor sheet metal 100%. Okay, so I'll keep coming around, and you can have your workbenches here if you want to craft. And make sure these ceilings get upgraded as well. You can add your boxes. Let's come all the way around. Plenty of storage. There should be no issue from here. And let's upgrade these. That should be all the sections. Perfect. So now let's add our final ceilings, and I'm just going to go right to metal with this. Make it quicker. Just like this. And we could start using stone now. So now that we're up to this layer, we can start messing around with these peak downs. And you could come in here and grab these walls if this bothers you as well. But basically, these sections are for if you get offline or online raided. You can upgrade these walls to sheet metal as well. If you're getting online raided, you can use these as peak downs. So basically, we're just going to do this like this. Add these little triangles, these 3 triangles, 1 facing towards you and 2 facing inward on all 3 sides. And we're going to bring up the honeycomb on these bunkers 1 more layer. Just like this. Okay, so now we're here, and add this ceiling as well. And then we're going to come around, and we're going to wall off all of this. Place it all around, and then we're going to make the peak downs. So to do this, basically, on each square, place a frame. These can be walled off. So each square has a frame now, and then you can place your walls on the inner area, like this. And then what you're going to do is have the ability to just run around all the way in the peaks from any 4 of these ways. And you can add extra garage doors here if you need them, if you don't want it to be like completely a roundabout. But for now, these garage doors like this will work just fine. So we'll add our honeycombing here. And we'll finish up this floor, and then we'll move on to the next floor. And then finally, you could add your ceilings, and then this will be all completed. Just like this. And if it makes you uncomfortable that these things go all the way down, it's optional. You can come around and sheet metal this outer ring. just like this. And this whole floor, really, if you want to. And then for this floor, I would recommend doing have an electric furnace set up, or normal furnaces, depending on if you want charcoal. You can just grab some, and you can obviously you'll have power and windmills and all of that on a base like this, but you can come around and throw some furnaces like here, just around the edges, research bench, repair bench. It doesn't really matter. That's irrelevant. Depends on what you kind of want to do with your base. And then you can add garage doors all the way around if you want to have that many more. And then obviously for this floor with the boxes, you would have garage doors going all the way around on a floor like this. Or as many as you guys can get. I know like I'm placing a garage door pretty much at every single section, which you don't have to do. But I'm just showing you what the maximum security version of the base would look like if you don't have to add all of these. But yeah, so now we have garage doors coming all the way around. We're ultra secured. We have this peak down floor, so I'm going to come over here. I'm going to grab a weapon and show you what it looks like. And yeah, you can add like this is what I mean. If you don't want this to be like fully accessible, you can do something like this. But now, if someone's raiding through these outer walls and not the honeycomb, and when they do break the honeycomb, you can shoot them from up above. Basically. That is the purpose of this. And if you fall down, you could ladder up, build out, you can get your stuff. That's not a problem. Okay, moving on from here. We are going to add our ceilings, which you can sheet metal, but I'm not going to. And then from here, we're going to finally do the wide gaps. And I'm going to try and do this as quick as possible because everybody has been asking for wide gaps. So for these wide gaps for this base, just actually let me come up here quickly. On each 3 of the stone honeycombed for the bunkers that I've built, build out 2 foundations, build a triangle, and then come back to, and then delete them. So now you have this, and let's do the same thing on the front side. And then come back to, and delete. So square, square, triangle, and delete. Then what you can do, as you can see, it's basically like a jigsaw puzzle. You can come all the way up with the frames and place your ceilings like that. And do the same thing on all the sides. And the last one. Perfect. Now, we're just going to go around the base basically and fit in all of the spaces where it needs to be. So next you can go triangle, triangle, and then one more on both sides. And then you should be able to come all the way up and fit another triangle in. And it should work perfectly. Just like this. And then for this section, we're going to go a square. And I'll come around on this side and do the same thing. Because as you can see, it's a square on this section, so that makes it easier. Get squared off like that, and then come up, build the frames, square it off like that. Now we have this, and then here we're going to come around, and we're going to go triangle, triangle on both sides, and then we're going to frame up to the top. And then you can go here, here, and here. And now you have the wide gaps completed on one side of the base. And now I'm just going to go through and try and build this as quick as possible. You can go back and see what I explained before on how to do this. Because it's pretty simple. It's easy. I'm pretty sure like every single person in the comments in the last video was like, why are there no wide gaps? Or are you using the old shooting floor? Honestly, it's just because I like the old shooting floor. I'm not that big of a fan of wide gaps. But if everyone wants to see me build them on my bases, then I'm just going to start building them. You can come all the way up. Here, here. This frame is connected to the main body of the base, or this triangle floor. And then the last and final section. Here. Do this here. Do this here. Add your frames. Come all the way up. And if you wanted to add another floor, of course, with more storage or whatever, you could have done that. But the bases are already much bigger than I would have liked it to get. I'm not a fan of building huge bases like this. So now we have the wide gaps around the whole base, which is perfect. And then after this, you can come, grab your windows, and go all the way around your wide gaps. All the way. Perfect, just like it is. And then for the center section, there should be a half wall here. I don't know why there isn't. Jump up. You can come like this. Garage door. So this is where we come up from the base. And then if you want to get access to the wide gaps, which is relatively easy to do, you can come around, and we're going to do this in an interesting way. So we're going to have a frame here. We're going to have a frame here. And we're going to have a frame here. So there's 3 entrances to the wide gaps that you can get access to. And then we're going to square off these rooms here. Just like, as you can see I'm doing. And come around the whole base and do that. Okay, perfect. And then these will be your entrances to the wide gap, so they still work perfectly fine. Just like this. But we're going to get to that in a second. And all of these, how many rooms is that? 6 rooms. These are bed and locker rooms. I'm going to build one. I'm not going to build all 6 of them. I'm going to show you an example of what they look like really quickly and easy. You have your bed. I mean, you could do this in a lot of ways. Put your bed. It's not that complicated. You could fit 2 lockers. Frame here. Garage door, basically. And now you have a locker room. It's pretty easy to build. And I'm not going to repeat that on every single side of the base, but that's what you would have in here. If you want to switch it out for something else, that's perfectly fine. You can totally do that. Whatever you really want to do. So now we have this part of the base, and we can add our ceilings here. Just like so. And if you want to add anything close to the walls, go ahead. Like a research bench, repair bench, stuff like that. That's perfectly fine as well. And then finally, for the wide gaps, which you're going to want to get, I'm going to show you what they look like really quickly in case you don't know. I'm sure you do. Grab an LMG or whatever gun, and you can see you have a great visibility all the way throughout the whole base, but pretty much. And now comes this little triangle section here, which is interesting because you can kind of do this however you want. You could leave it as is. So you don't have to touch this, honestly. But if you want to change it up and have it slightly more protected, you could add a frame and a door here, and then 2 windows, and then sealing it all off. So what you have now is kind of a defensive area to run back into, which you can have more lockers or such here. Like this. Place this one the right orientation. Like this. And you can have whatever. And then you could still have wide gaps, but they're slightly harder to access. So this is an option. Or you could just leave it as is. For now, I'm going to build it like this. So I'm going to show the building costs later. So we'll do that on all the sides. And come around here. Garage door. You could add your lockers like this. And obviously for the windows, you would be having these reinforced window glasses. We can come around all the different sides and place those. Just like this. And then for this section, you could really just make this honeycombing, but I kind of like having this as a garage door, as a place to run into if you're getting shot at. And we can place that on all the different sides. Like that. And this as well. Now, before we build the next floor, there's something really important you have to realize. For these triangles that stick out from the base where I place these safety garage doors, there has to be 2 frames here on all the different sides. Make sure you place those, or else people will be able to slip through the front of your wide gaps, which you do not want. So get your frames here and upgrade these to sheet metal. You do not want them getting jackhammered out. So now you have this. So now that we have those frames and we know it's safe, we can add our ceilings all the way around from the wide gaps. And remember, these are not from the main base. These are connected to the wide gaps, all of these ceilings, except on that one triangle. Perfect. Now we have the wide gaps. And before I get to the next section, as always, with all wide gaps, which you do not want them getting jackhammered out, please upgrade your foundations to sheet metal. It's extremely important. So let's just run around and grab that quickly. So now we have this. And we could come up and let's build the final floor. So we have this section here, which we can wall off, add our garage door. And then pretty much you could turn this into a mini copter garage as well, where you can get a mini copter in. I saw some people saying that they wanted vending machines as well, which I'll get to in a second, but add your frames on the few sections here. Windows. And get your reinforced glass and throw it on all the different sides. Just like this. And you can get a mini copter in here. It's not that difficult. Just drive it in and push it. It's pretty easy. It'll be safe and pretty much fine for the entire time. You could easily like do a little vending machine trick if you want to replace one of these. Like here, let's do this. On there. Let's do it here. Let's do it here. In case people were saying, oh, you want to sell stuff, you want vending machines, whatever. Here's this. Vending machines. So that solves that issue. And we have a mini copter garage. And then if you wanted to build your whatever it's called, the windmills, you could come up here and do this. And just place your windmill like this. I'll just give you an example. This would be for power turrets. I'm not going to get into power turrets. That's kind of like, do it where you want, however you want. But there's a million different places. I'm sure people would have a whole floor for batteries. If you want to turn one of these rooms into a batteries by the electric furnaces, do that, connect it, and you could place turrets all throughout the base. You could just place one on the foundation. So this is where you'd have them. Like you'd have turrets here protecting your large furnaces, all of that stuff. Just like this. And then you could connect your windmills to a battery and then so forth. Add your Python, Bolty, Semi, whatever you want to do. And now you have that. And then finally, for the roof at least, we can add the last few windmills. Which to do this, make sure you have this triangle sticking out so then you're able to place them. Because it could be kind of a pain sometimes because it gets too close, but we should be able to get it if we mess around with the floors. Yeah, like this. And you could do that on the same side if you don't like the non-symmetricalness. Like so. Grab your other windmill. Here. Place it out and yeah, we could do this like this. Just to make it perfectly even. Windmills, and you could place them in different places, but it doesn't really matter how you place windmills. And then you could grab netting, which I don't know, I'm sure most people know about, but just in case, if there's anyone that's watching that doesn't know, netting is cheap and lets you just come up to your windmills. I'll get off a fly and show you. You could just zoom up. Really cool and easy. And then finally, we'll do our roofs. And for the roofs, come and place most of your roofs like this on the wide gap section. And we're going to have some stability issues. Of course, there's always stability issues. So you should be able to find a place to get a frame. Oh, that breaks. You could come down. Boom. Get a frame. So come through. You can't place frames on every section, but a lot of them, or more like these two sections, you can get a frame. Where like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 triangles in a row, you can get frames. And then more here if you need them. Could look around. It really depends on how tall you build the base is what dictates the frames, basically. But let's keep going. Like I was saying before, place your roofs on the wide gaps because we want this section to see through like this. And then for this section, make sure when you build your wide gaps, you place them, or your ceilings, or your roof, sorry, you place it on the triangle, not the wide gap, on the triangle. So connect it to the main base for those roofs, and then back to building it as the wide gaps. Back to placing them on the wide gaps. And then, again, once again, we made it to this triangle, so we're going to place it on the main base, and then far out again on the wide gaps. Be a bit tricky sometimes, and then on the main triangle. And now we've come all the way around. And now we're at this monstrosity of a base, basically. And the only thing we really haven't done is grab your vertical embrasures, and we throw them on every single window. Just like this. Come all the way around. Here. Here. Now we have vertical embrasures. And then lastly, we're almost done. We're going to build our gates. Pretty much very, very self-explanatory to build gates. Triangle on the section where there's the bunker honeycomb. So these little drum sections, you just place one triangle. I'll go around to the other side. You see these two sticking out. Triangle. See these two sticking out. Triangle. Square. And then it really depends on how far, but it's probably going to be this far. Then we have our gate. So you could place window. 2 of these, and then have your walls like this. And then for this section, you're not going to use garage doors. We're going to want sheet metal double doors. So double doors have vertical embrasures on this. So now we have our gate, and this is connected. So this gate will be supporting this, which I'll explain in a second, because we're going to go out. Another 2 triangles, 3 triangles, doesn't really matter. Keep this connected. You could do this. Have this. So we did 2 triangles. We connected it through the roof because we're going to break the foundation. And then we have this little box here, which we are going to take a TC, place it, authorize it. As you can see, this TC is supporting this itself, the gate, and the entirety of the wide gaps. And then finally, when you want to close it up, place it on. And if you don't like the way this looks, you can, if you don't want these foundations here, you could do this as well. So you could remove those and have that, basically. And then we're going to repeat this step on every single side as quickly as possible. So the same exact deal. Build your gate, 2 out, or 3 triangle, or 3 squares out. Vertical embrasure. Double door. You could add your frames. Delete your triangles. Go 2 more sections out. And then build your TC. We will grab and place on the inside. You can see supports it once again. Delete these floors. Connect it with the ceiling frame. And then lastly, for the gates at least, we're going to move on to the last one. We just quickly build it. It's the same deal as the other 3, of course. So we'll do this quickly. Make sure these are connected, by the way, or else they will decay. You can add the frames like that, and then grab, because if the TC coverage won't cover the entirety of the base, like this section, you'll be able to place a floor pretty much, or a thing. And if you're worried about that, you can come and just test, place a foundation, and find a place where you could grab a TC. It should be like right around here. You can do this. And have that. Then grab your high walls. And you can come around and connect. And you can connect that, but you could just leave it right on the edge, which works perfectly fine as well. And then once you've connected high walls, you would have grabbed these metal barricades. Come down and just find the best placements for them. They could be kind of tricky to place sometimes. But you should be able to get them connected in here somehow. I'm not really the best at placing these things, to be completely honest. But this is to stop people from getting over. But I'm going to show you guys quickly. If you're worried about people getting over, no matter what you do, people can get over easily just by laddering like this. And say there's a thing here, you could just place a ladder like this, jump on top of it, and then you could land like right on the top of the ladder, which I'm not doing right, like this, and then jump over the barricade, which is easy to do. I'm just being an idiot right now. But yeah, you'd place your barricades. You could add your compound. Just make sure you add TCs if you're worried about that. People will be able to like build things over. Like do your thing here. Close it out. You can add upkeep. And you can come around and just keep adding your walls. And then you'd add your the top thing, the barricades. And then lastly, do it on this side as well. And then let's come around. And place this. I'm just placing these walls quick. Obviously you do it with more finesse in the actual game. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to close the bunker quickly. So if we go to the front door, I think. Yeah, right here. So I left this unopened, but make sure you have a sleeping bag. So grab these. I don't know why it's not giving me a lot. And then we can place boxes. So you put your sulfur and your metal frags, high coal, whatever you want in here. And you should be able to fit. I'll place this as a test. Like this. Grab a box like this. A mini box. If you don't want this many bags, you can remove the bags and replace them for more box space or storage. So then you can bust the bunker when you want to come in, when you're logging off, close the bunker, upgrade this to armored, obviously. And then you log on in the morning. Oh, I'm not rated. Break the bottom part of the bunker, not the top. I don't know why it keeps doing that. break the bottom part, and you'll be able to come right out. And then you can repeat that same process for the TC room. You have your box here. If you want more boxes, you can fit this. And then you'll get like a bag or two. Or one, whatever, however, depending on how many boxes. Then you'd fill your bunker up. Once again. Which we'll do on all the sides. You break. I don't know why it keeps breaking that top wall. But you break, and you have easy access. Boxes, bags, all of it. Perfect. Come back up. You have your turrets. You have a compound, external gates, multi-TC, vending machines, power, wide gaps, bunker, open core. We'll go back to the open core. A million boxes. Easy access to loot. Electricity. I mean, it has everything you could ask for. And more. And it looks pretty cool as well, I think. That's the whole base. If you didn't like it somehow, or you have another suggestion, please say, because I would like to improve it even more if that's possible. I'm sure it is. Just let me know. And then, yeah. If you want to see a different type of video, also let me know about that, and I'll try and work something out as soon as possible. And then I will see you guys in the next one.